अरे बोल हो तो गया ना माता जी, इज डन ना.
But Prabhu, in that page it is showing video unavailable. This video is private. Go to home.
What?
You go to the, if I go to the YouTube page, it is saying video unavailable. This video is private. Go to home.
So why you are going to YouTube now?
I am not going, Prabhu. The page where we enter the, it is not asking me for the password. I have not given Krishna at the rate 90.
So every time it will not ask because you would have saved the ID. It has started. No, stream has started. No, that's all. No problem.
Here it is started. But is it okay, Prabhu?
It is okay. No problem.
Okay, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kumaridaya Mataji, Dandat Pranam. How are you?
Hare Krishna, Dandas Pranam Mataji. I'm doing good. Thank you. Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible. Mataji, I'm making you the host, Mataji.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the YouTube streaming is already on, so you just have to end the Zoom session. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yudham.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so let us start now by offering prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, welcome everyone to this 18th chapter, the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the perfection of renunciation. So today we will have a concluding session. Before that, would any of you would like to volunteer to tell what has happened in the previous class, yesterday's class? Anybody remembers?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Please may I try?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Mataji, the one thing, the most important takeaway from me was the shloka 70, when the Lord says that this secret conversation between us, whoever listens is just like a worship for us, worshipping me. So in a sense that has made the the belief stronger that reading the Bhagavad Gita, listening to what the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, what happens, what changes happens in that. So that is one very important takeaway from me. And the other thing, what I also understood is where the Lord preaches, whom we should not say it, this give this knowledge to, how to recognize the people who are not capable of understanding this knowledge. So in the practical sense also it's helping, because sometimes, when we try to say something about the Bhagavad Gita, at least in my personal experience, I've come across people who start questioning it, and because my understanding is not yet that strong, so kind of I feel, no, why are they asking me, why can't they just accept what I was easily able to accept? So that was like very clear in one of the shloka. So these two important things, these two were the important takeaways from me, Mataji, for the among all the other texts also, shlokas also discussed.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Anybody else want to share? Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Mataji, it's all
Yes,
about
Mataji.
surrender also, the surrender. They say, Krishna, he looks into people, who surrender. And then we also got this, so many examples, those who have surrendered, Draupadi, Prahlad Maharaj, then even the Brahmana Patnis and all that, how Krishna came into their, to help them. And we also should accept only what is favorable, and what is not favorable, we should reject. Then balanced, Mataji already spoke, Mataji.
Yeah.
Also,
Anything
Mataji,
else?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yes, our life should
Mataji.
always be like, molded in such a way that we always, daily activities are in connection with Krishna.
Very beautiful.
So,
yes.
In that case, the Lord promises that, he'll certainly, we go back to him. So that is a guarantee Krishna is giving. And also he is telling that the process is also clearly given to us, that anukulasya sankalpaha pratikulasya varjanam, so that we all know. So
Yeah.
we should always fix our mind on Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So you all have almost summarized. Anybody else wants to
Hare
share?
Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Now Kishore Mataji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna
go
Mataji.
ahead.
Dhanwad. Actually, I wanted to say, like, whatever we do in the regular life, or whatever we do, we offer to Krishna or remember Krishna before even we put anything put in practice. Like we always let Krishna handle it, or let Krishna do it for us. Whatever we are doing in our regular life, also we must put Krishna first, then we go ahead for that activity.
Yeah.
I believe that we must put Krishna in center, and we must give everything, like how Arjuna give like the example they always give, the way Krishna handled the Arjuna's chariot. We must give our life chariot or life thread also to him.
Yeah.
If anybody understand Hindi, like our अपने जीवन की डोर हमें कृष्णा के हाथ में दे देनी चाहिए. That is a simple line for main line actually for our dedication offering also for towards Krishna. That is my prayers for every day. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
very nice. Very nice, Mataji. You
Very
spoke
nice.
the essence. Thank you so much. Yes, Medhavani Mataji, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was very inspired by all the devotees. I thought I'll also share one line of realization. So, like Krishna is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita 2 times, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskru. So, yesterday one of the Matajis was explaining very beautifully that if you just follow these 4 instructions, and Krishna is promising that you all can come back to me. Become my, always think of me, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me, Mam Namaskuru, offer obeisances. And then he tells that Mam Eveshu Satyam Te Pratijani Priyosmi, because you will come back to me because you are very dear to me. So if any of us follow those 4 instructions, we'll also become very dear to Krishna like Arjuna, and then we'll go back to Gandhi. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Madhavi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thanks to everyone for sharing such wonderful realizations and points. And we'll also see today, the realizations of Sanjaya. So, because this is whole, in the first shloka, we have seen that everything is, Sanjaya is seeing the scene that is happening in the battlefield, and he is speaking to Dhritarashtra. So, he also shares his realizations. Okay, so we'll resume our class. Who would like to volunteer to read this shloka?
Mataji, shall I read, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Bharti Mataji. Yes.
Kachit. Actually, sorry, Mataji, current is not here. Actually, 1 minute, Mataji, I'll continue. Kachit et shrutam partha. 1 minute, Mataji. Tvayaikrakrena chetasa kachit and ajnana sammoha pranashtaste Dhananjaya. Shall I read the translation, Mataji? Translation and
yes. Will you be able to read, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. I can read, Mataji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. O God of Partha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind, and are your ignorance of illusion now dispelled? Purport. The Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita in its proper perspective. If not, The Lord was already to re-explain any point or the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. Actually, anyone who hears Bhagavad Gita for a bona fide spiritual master like Krishna or his representative will find that all his ignorance is dispelled. Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book written by a poet or fiction writer. It is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any person fortunate enough to hear these teachings from Krishna or from his bona fide spiritual representative is sure to become a liberated person and get out of the darkness of ignorance. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
So here we see that Lord Krishna is asking Arjuna. So what is he asking? Kaschid yeta shruta partha. He's asking, oh Partha, have you heard this? What is that? So he's asking, Tvayi ekagrena chetasa, means with one pointed attention, with full concentration. Did you hear attentively or have you spaced out? Krishna is trying to inquire from Arjuna whether he heard all the instructions that he has given in Gita or not. Kachid ajnana sammoha pranataste dhananjaya. So your ajnana, ajnana means ignorance, and sammoha means, moha means illusions. All illusions, sammoha means all illusions. Are they dispelled now? Oh Dhananjaya. So Krishna is asking like this. So what is Krishna's intention in asking like this? Because he's acting like a teacher, so he wanted to know whether the student has understood the teachings properly or not. So if he did not understand, he wants to re-explain whole Bhagavad Gita again. Can you imagine Krishna's patience? Wonderful, no? So as a Lord's duty as a guru, he's checking the Arjuna's understanding. Acharya says that Arjuna was actually an intelligent student. So he understood. But if he has not understood, then the Lord was ready to re-explain any point or whole Bhagavad Gita also if it is required. So Prabhupada mentions, see, anyone who hears Bhagavad Gita from a bona fide spiritual master, it says here, right? So anyone who hears from the bona fide spiritual master, what does he get? First thing is, all his ignorance is removed. All ignorance is dispelled. Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book which is written by a poet or a fiction writer. It is spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead. So any person who is actual hearing of Bhagavad Gita is what we acquire when we hear Bhagavad Gita. When we hear Bhagavad Gita, our ajnana, our ignorance is finished and one becomes liberated. How one becomes liberated? Because Bhagavad Gita is not written by some poet or a fiction writer. It is spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. That's why when we hear those instructions and when we apply them practically in our life, then the darkness of ignorance is removed and we become liberated. Okay. So we'll go to the next shloka.
I'll read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandit Pranam. Arjuna vacha nasto moha smriti labdha tvat prasadan maya yuta stitosmi gata sandeha karisye vachanam tava. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instruction.
Thank you, Mataji. No, let us not read purport. It is okay. Thank you. So now Arjuna is responding whether he has understood or not. Arjuna is saying, yes, Krishna, my moha, nashto moha smritir labdha. So he's saying, yes, Krishna, my moha, my illusion is dispelled now. Nashto moha. Earlier, I was confused. What did Arjuna say in 2.7? Anybody remembers? 2.7 shloka.
क्लैब्यं
Yes, Mother.
धर्म सम्मूढचेतः साधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mother.
Krishna to be his guru.
Yeah, so he was telling in that shloka that Arjuna was saying that I am confused about my duty. So I am accepting you as my guru and I am your disciple. Please help me. That's what he said. So Gita began with Arjuna expressing his confusion. Now Gita is ending with Arjuna saying, now I am very clear. I have a clear thought process now. So Gita takes us from a journey of confusion to clarity. So Arjuna is confused about performing his duty. We also can be confused in performing our duties, right? So it is like Arjuna is acting in place of us, all of us, right? So, but when we take shelter of the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we will be relieved from all those confusions. Okay, that's the meaning here. So he said, Tvat prasadan mayachyuta. So what is he saying? By prasadan means by your mercy, by your prasada, O Achyuta, I have been relieved from all illusions. Sthitosmi kata sandeha. Now I am firm and free from all doubts. All my sandeha, my doubts are gone. Karishe vachanam tava. I act according to your instructions. Karishe means I will do. Vachanam means your instructions. Tava means I surrender, I act. Now, two things we need to observe in this shloka. The first thing is Nashto Moha and second thing is Karishe Vachanam Tava. This is very beautiful shloka which we all have to remember also, and it is the ultimate thing. So in the Nashto Moha, what is that? The Nashto Moha means my confusion is dispelled. So what is that? Earlier Arjuna was confused. Now he got clarity. So what is that moha? The Acharya says that someone thinks that we have seen like even in the Bhagavad Gita from the beginning of the chapters, like Krishna talks about, you are not the body, we are not bodies, we are soul. Right? He teaches this principle to Arjuna also. So someone thinking that I am a body, that is one type of moha. And someone thinking that I am a jivatma, I am God. Some people will think that I am also a God. That is also a moha. Someone thinks that, I am the proprietor. I am the controller. Whoever has these designations, they feel, we all have this kind of feelings, right? So these are all moha. These are all come under this illusions, all illusions. But what is the truth? What is the real truth? The real truth is the living entity is only a servant of God. That is Nashto Moha. That identifying the real identity is dispelling the moha, dispelling the illusion. So here, so how we will be able to get into this. I mean, we will be able to get relieved from these illusions. It is by hearing from the Lord or hear from Guru Parampara. That is what Prabhupada says in the purport also. He says that when we hear directly from the instructions of the Lord, or when we hear the Lord's instructions through the Guru Parampara, then we will come out of moha. So Arjuna understood that Lord's plan is to make him as an instrument instrument and clear all these demonic people of this material world. So he was ready. His illusion is gone, and then he was ready to surrender to Krishna. So that is what is Nashto Moha. Okay. So, and then the next is Karishe Vachanam Tava. So just a few shlokas back, what Krishna said, he said, Yatechasi Tatha Kuru. He said, like, oh Arjuna, I gave you all full knowledge. Now you decide what you want to do. You have a free will. You have a decision-making power. So you can do whatever you want. So what did Arjuna said? with my decision-making power and with my independence, I choose to surrender or act according to your instructions. That is what Arjuna is saying now in this shloka. So, yatechasi tatha kuru means do whatever you like, and karishye vachanam tava means I will do whatever you like. So Krishna taught entire Bhagavad Gita, right? So teachings of Bhagavad Gita is not just transmission of knowledge, but actually it's a expression of love. So many of you also have gave the essence that, we all have to give our reins to Lord Krishna and let him ride however he wants. And we just have to become puppets in the hands of Lord Krishna. So how does that happen? Only when we show our love. So to whom we can surrender? We cannot surrender to anyone who is going here and there, right? So we can only surrender to a person whom we have loved, right? So this Bhagavad Gita is also, it's an expression of love. So Krishna gave knowledge to Arjuna lovingly, with concern, as a well-wishing friend, as a loving Lord. If you speak with intelligence and if you help someone to analyze their situation and say, you do whatever you want, that's good. You can touch their intelligence. But if you speak with heart, if you speak with concern, if you speak with a well-wishing attitude, that will touch their hearts. That will not only, touch their intelligence, but it will touch the heart. So Arjuna, definitely his intelligence is sharpened now. He gained that knowledge. He got a very good rational understanding of life, body, soul, three material modes, Prakriti, Jiva, Kala, Karma, Purusha. He got many things. So his knowledge has become very sharp. But apart from the knowledge transmission, Krishna also has done some love expression. He has exhibited love also. So Arjuna, Krishna, how did he express his love? He said, Arjuna, I am speaking all this, expressing my love for you. Did you get my point? So Krishna is asking. Krishna did not explicitly said like that, but that's what Krishna meant, because at the junction after 63rd shloka, when Krishna said, Yatechasu tatha kuru, I gave you knowledge. Later Arjuna thought, oh, I gave you knowledge, now you decide whatever you want. So Arjuna thought, oh, Krishna is leaving me saying that whatever you like, you do. I gave you knowledge, but he went off. No, it is not like that, right? So Krishna went one step ahead and said, what did he say? Sarva dharman parityajya. After that 63rd shloka, he also said, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. He also instructed Arjuna to give up all his duties and do whatever he says. Till that point, he was transmitting knowledge. Of course, he was also exhibiting love. But here it's from there onwards, from Sarva dharman parityajya onwards, it is purely exhibiting the love. So the two shlokas that Krishna says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto and Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, these two shlokas, he is purely expressing Krishna's heart. He is not just helping Arjuna to analyze the things, but he is enabling Arjuna to recognize how much love Krishna has for him. That's why karishye vachanam tava. Arjuna just not agreed to Krishna's words just because he got intellectually convinced. Convincing presentation from Krishna. Of course, it makes sense. It was a proper presentation, but finally he said, Krishna, whatever you are saying, it makes sense. I do it. Because Krishna, I understood that you love me so much and you love me more than anyone else. And I also love you more than anyone else. That's why, because I love you and you love me, I will do whatever you say. That is what is the actual meaning of karishye vachanam tava. If you want more vivid example of where logic is completely kept aside and only emotion is considered, we can see in the story of Krishna telling Vrajavasis. We all know the story where Krishna says, tell Vrajavasis to stop Indra Puja and do Govardhan Puja. At least in the case of Arjuna, Krishna told him to fight. Krishna advised him by speaking some logical words. But in the case of Vrajavasis, Krishna did not speak anything logical also. What did Krishna speak to convince Vrajavasis to stop Indra Puja and do Govardhan Puja? Anyone knows what is that philosophy that Krishna spoke? Anybody here in the audience?
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I try?
Yes, Mataji.
Actually, Krishna told that everything is given by the Govardhan hill only, because the fruits and the vegetables and the seeds, what we are getting from Govardhan hill. So why we are praying? Why we are not praying to Govardhan, and we'll pray to Govardhan so that it gives us more.
Yeah.
My understanding, Mataji.
Yes. Actually, here Krishna is speaking a karma mimamsha philosophy. We all know, right? Karma mimamsha philosophy. So he said when Krishna himself is not, actually he himself is not convinced about this philosophy, right? In Bhagavad Gita, he speaks about it, but that is not the highest thing which he speaks, because he speaks about bhakti yoga later on to Arjuna. Right? The speaker himself has no clarity of what he is speaking here. The Krishna, how can the audience get clarity? But Vrajavasis got full clarity. Even though Krishna did not, he doesn't follow himself this karma mimamsha philosophy, but still Vrajavasis, when they were asked by Krishna to worship Govardhan, they got full clarity. What are they clear about? They're not clear about karma mimamsha philosophy, but they are clear that Krishna wants Govardhan Puja instead of Indra Puja. So all Vrajavasis agreed to worship Govardhan, not because that they understand and that they understood and completely they are convinced about this karma mimamsha philosophy spoken by Krishna, but because they are convinced that Krishna wants Govardhan Puja out of love, they have agreed. So they gave up Indra Puja and they did Govardhan Puja. So this is the stage where we also need to reach. That does not mean that we have to follow Krishna blindly. Whatever he says, just do. You don't need to understand anything. Yeah, if you do blind following also, it is fine. Nothing wrong about it. But to follow like that, you need to have a tremendous amount of faith on Krishna's words. Right? So that is what is being exhibited here. Initially, our bhakti begins with Shraddha, right? Little Shraddha. Then we go to the next stage. There are 9 stages, right? Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Vajan Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, Nishta, Ruchi. So it goes like that, up to the Prema level. So Shraddha, which starts, the bhakti which starts with Shraddha, it keeps expanding as we progress in our devotion service. So when you are going up to the next stage, in the ladder, the previous stage becomes broader and deeper. So who has greatest Shraddha? So the 9 stages of bhakti from Shraddha to Prema, then who will have greatest Shraddha? The one who is in the level of Prema. They have the highest stage of bhakti and they have the highest stage of Shraddha for Krishna's words. Now, because even Arjuna also has love for Krishna, he is convinced about Krishna's words, not at an intellectual plane. Yes, intellectually also he is convinced, but it is not here it is at least not on a social custom plane. It's not just on understanding, Varna Dharma or Ashram Dharma. Not at that level. It's much higher plane. It's at the Prema level. It's at the love plane. Because Arjuna loves Krishna, because he is on the level of Prema, he has complete faith in Krishna's words. That's why he said, I will fight. So, Bhagavad Gita is the scripture where God expresses his complete love and affection for his devotee, especially we see in the 9th chapter, in the middlemost part of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna expresses how much he loves all of us. So when we hear those words attentively, we can understand Krishna's heart and we are very inspired we become very inspired to dedicate our lives for Krishna's service. Intellectual understanding we may get or we may not get. If we get intellectual understanding also, that's fine. But we should not stop there. We should go one step ahead. So what is this? We have one story, right? Of South Indian Brahman. We have discussed this before also. So he was an illiterate and he cannot read Bhagavad Gita also. He is not a scholar also. He is not a pandit. He is not even intellectual also. But he does not know anything about Bhagavad Gita. He does not know any logic. But when he opened the book, he had tears in his eyes. And as soon as he opened, why he was having tears? Because as soon as he opened the book, he is remembering Krishna. And he is also submissive to his spiritual master, because spiritual master told him to just read Bhagavad Gita daily. He is just doing it. And with that submission, when he is opening the book, he has so much love towards Krishna that his eyes are filled with tears. So that submission to spiritual master and love for Krishna equipped him with the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And what happened? When the same speaker of Bhagavad Gita, who is Krishna, who came in the form of a sannyasi, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, he said, after seeing the South Indian Brahman, he said, whatever you understood from Gita is the essence of Gita. Right? So he could able to understand the essence of Gita. Right? One should not, to understand the Gita, one should not have a grammatical perspective or linguistic perspective, or we should not be doing so much of research on that. So what is the essence? Essence is one should develop love for Krishna. That's why Krishna again and again he says that spiritual knowledge is gained by those who are non-envious. Anasuya. He also tells in the previous verses, in the previous class, we would have heard that, Krishna, when he says, you should not teach Bhagavad Gita to everyone, there he says, one kind of people is non-envious. Who are envious, we should not preach them Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because the spiritual knowledge is gained only by those who are non-envious. Krishna says so many times, oh Arjuna, because you are my friend and you are non-envious, I am imparting this knowledge to you, this confidential knowledge to you, right? So our understanding of Bhagavad Gita should not be a product of research. It should be a product of revelation. Krishna has to reveal, because spiritual knowledge cannot be researched. It has to be revealed. But when it is revealed to the degree we have devotion for Krishna. So if we have faith in Krishna's words, as he spoke in 9th chapter, like Krishna is our supreme well-wisher. He also says, Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhota Sanatana Yoga Kshemam Vahamiham. So many times Krishna has expressed his love for all of us, right? So when we have the faith, complete faith in Krishna's words, naturally we agree to act according to his instructions. Okay, so Prabhupada says also in the purport that the living entity's constitutional position is to be a servitor. He says here, like of the living entity is that of eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. So we are only the servants of the Lord. If we serve the Supreme Lord in his in our normal condition, then he will remove all the illusory and external energy that is, and he will liberate us from binding, from the bondage of this external energy. Actually, to become free from this illusionary energy, we have to just understand and act according to Krishna's instructions. That's it. That is the only essence of this shloka. Okay. So we will go further. Okay, who will read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Sudha Mataji, go ahead.
Sanjaya Uvacha Ityaham Vasudevasya Parthasya cha Mahatmanah Samvadam Nimam Asrausham Adbhutam Roma Harshanam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sanjaya said, thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. Purport also I'll read, Mataji.
Yes, you can read first.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjaya what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjaya by the grace of his spiritual master Vyasa. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord. If we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjay realized this, and as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. Haribol Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. So here now Sanjay is going to share his realizations. So from this shloka until the end of the Bhagavad Gita, the 78th shloka, the last shloka, now Sanjay is speaking his realizations. So what is he saying here? He is saying that iti aham vasudevasya. Thus I have parthasya cha mahatmanaha. Now he's saying in this way, I have discussed with you samvada, conversation between Vasudeva and Partha. So he's telling, I have discussed, so far I have discussed the conversation between Samvadam imam ashrausam. So the conversation between the two great personalities, Krishna and Arjuna. Adbhutam Roma Harshanam. So what is he saying then? He's saying both are Mahatmana. First he says Mahatmana, both are Mahatmana, both are great personalities. Then Adbhutam Roma Harshanam. This conversation is so really wonderful that hairs are standing on my head. As Sanjay is speaking to Dhritarashtra. So Gita, when heard with proper consciousness, is very wonderful. Here Prabhupada is also mentioning, he says that in the beginning, we all know that in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya what is happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Then Sanjaya starts speaking what is happening. How he is able to see? He is seeing everything that is happening in the battlefield from his heart, from the divine vision that is being bestowed by his spiritual master Vyasadeva. So now he's telling that he's sharing his realization that this samvad is so wonderful that my hair is standing on end. And what else he says, we will see here. Who will read? Sindhu Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
75. Only translation. Vyasa prasada Shrutavan etad guhyam aham param yogam yogeshwarat krishnat sakshat katayatha swayam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. Purport. Vyasa was the spiritual master of Sanjaya, and Sanjaya admits that it was by Vyasa's
Mataji,
mercy.
it's okay. It's okay. I'll just give the
Very
essence of
good.
this.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. So here now Krishna is saying Vyasa prasada shrutavan. So he's saying that Sanjay is saying, I have heard this conversation between Arjuna and Krishna prasada, again, by the mercy of Vyasa prasada. So by the mercy of Vyasadeva. Etad guhyam aham param. These confidential talks are revealed to me by Vyasadeva. Yogam yogeshwarat krishnat. I'm hearing directly from Krishna, who is Ishwara, the master of all mysticism. Sakshat katayata swayam. He is personally speaking this to Arjuna, and I have heard this. So Gita is unique in the entire scriptural library among all the scriptures that are written by Srila Vyasadeva, right? So here in the purport, Prabhupada mentions very beautiful points. One he says is, here he speaks, one has to understand Krishna not directly, but through the medium of spiritual master. The spiritual master is the transparent medium. Although it is true that the experience is still direct, this is the mystery of a disciplic succession. So, see, if we have a facility like Arjuna, directly interacting with Krishna, we can directly hear from the Lord. That possibility is there. But the conditioned souls, we being conditioned souls, we don't have that kind of attachment, nor that kind of love towards Lord, nor we are not non-envious, neither friend to Krishna, that we can understand Krishna's words directly. But to understand Krishna, what we have to take shelter of? We have to take shelter of spiritual master. So it is only possible through the medium of spiritual master, who is coming from the Guru Parampara, from the proper disciplic succession. That bona fide spiritual master can impart this knowledge to us, and he can help us to surrender to Krishna. So Sanjaya also says Sanjaya could hear directly from Krishna, like Arjuna could hear directly from Krishna. Sanjaya was also able to hear directly from Krishna. But not everyone could do so, right? So, but when we hear from the bona fide Guru, who is connected to the whole parampara, which is coming from Krishna, then it is as good as hearing from Krishna. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying in this statement. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, he cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as understanding Bhagavad Gita is concerned. Okay. So he also talks about how Bhagavad Gita teaches the different kinds of yoga systems like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Why these yogas have come? Because Krishna is the master of mysticism. So Arjuna again, Prabhupada tells that Arjuna was fortunate to hear from Krishna, whereas Sanjaya also was fortunate because he was also able to hear from Krishna by the blessings of his spiritual master Vyasadeva. So there is no difference from hearing directly from Krishna. We can see here, right? So Arjuna is hearing directly from Krishna, and by the blessings of spiritual master, even Sanjaya could able to hear directly from Krishna. So with the, we also take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who is representative of Vyasadeva, then we can also hear directly from Krishna. Means whatever we hear, it is equivalent to hearing from Krishna only. And Prabhupada mentions that according to the Vedic systems, on the birthday of spiritual master, the disciple should conduct the ceremony called Vyasa Puja, because he is representing, spiritual master represents the Vyasadeva, so Vyasa Puja should be conducted. Okay. So we'll move on to the next shloka. Namakishwari Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavats.
Thank you Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Rajan samshrum smrutya sansmrutya samvadami mamada bhutama keshavarjuna yoho punyam rashyami cha muhur muhurho. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure, being thrilled at every moment. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The understanding of Bhagavad Gita is so transcendental that anyone who becomes conversant with the topics of Arjuna and Krishna becomes righteous, and he cannot forget such talks. This is a transcendental position of spiritual life. In other words, one who hears the Gita from the right source, directly from Krishna, attain full Krishna consciousness. The result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened, and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. So here, Sanjay is saying, I repeatedly recall this. What is he recalling? the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Rajan samsmritya samsmritya. Here, Sanjaya is getting ecstatic. He is speaking to King Raja. Dhritarashtra, O king, I'm remembering it again and again. What is he remembering? Samvadam imam adbhutam. This samvad, this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, it's adbhutam, it's wonderful. Keshava Arjuna yo punyam rishyami cha muhur muhur. I'm taking pleasure repeatedly recalling this conversation that has happened between Krishna and Arjuna. I'm getting pleasure. So Gita is not a book that you read once and keep it aside. You have to repeatedly read. Like Sanjay is saying, he is able to feel pleasure, more and more pleasure by remembering, by recalling repeatedly the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, by recalling the instructions of Krishna to Arjuna. Right? So we also have to repeatedly read it. When we read repeatedly, what will happen? Our understanding of Gita will increase. Today, see, supposedly for today, if you read Gita now, today is 19th July 2023. Today we are concluding Gita, and you read again on July 19, 2024, or maybe in 2030. After 10 years or something like that, then read the same shloka that we have discussed today. The understanding is much better. It is much deeper. Why? Because whatever we understood today in Bhagavad Gita, it is not the product of our intelligence, but it is a product of spiritual maturity at this moment. Gita shlokas are written in Sanskrit and purports are written in English. So one should not think that if I know Sanskrit and if I know English, I can understand Gita. Anyone can understand Gita. No, it does not work like that. Those who have devotion can understand Gita better. So as the years pass, our spiritual maturity also increases. And by that, our devotion towards Krishna also increases. With that, we get more and more deeper understanding of the instructions of the Lord. Then we will be able to take more and more pleasure in the teachings of the Lord and in the leelas of the Lord, in the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees also. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Okay, is there Krishnamurti Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhuji. You can read.
Satya samsrutya rupam atyadbhutam harehe vismayo me mahan rajan prushyami cha punah punaha. Shall I read translation?
Yeah,
Mataji?
translation you can read.
Little bit scroll, Mataji.
Yeah.
Translation by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonderful more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Perfect. It appears that Sanjaya also, by the grace of Vyasa, could see the universal form Krishna exhibited to Arjuna. It is, of course, said that Lord Krishna had never exhibited such a form before. It was exhibited to Arjuna only. Yet some great devotees could also see the universal form of Krishna when it was shown to Arjuna. And Vyasa was one of them. He is one. Little bit scroll. He is one of the great devotee of the Lord, and that he is considered to be a powerful incarnation of Krishna. Vyasa disclosed this to his disciple Sanjaya, who remembered that wonderful form of Krishna exhibited to Arjuna and enjoyed it repeatedly. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Lord. So here, what is the result of remembering? So Sanjaya was telling, right? I was repeatedly remembering, recalling the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, and I'm experiencing the pleasure. So now, some more he is saying. What else he is feeling? Tacha samritya means, O King, I'm not only remembering the teachings of Gita repeatedly, I'm also remembering the beautiful form of Krishna. He saw the universal form of Krishna Of course, Prabhupada is mentioning about the universal form of the Krishna, which is also beautiful. Which Rupam Ati Adbhutam Hare, that Rupam, that form of Krishna is Ati Adbhutam, which is most wonderful. Vismayo me Mahan Rajan. I am struck with wonder more and more. Krishyami cha puna puna. I am rejoicing again and again. So this is, see, the last shloka also he was saying he was rejoicing, and here also he's saying he is rejoicing. So there's an overlap. So there's a repetition. What does this repetition means? Means there's an excitement. This shows the excitement of Sanjaya, as explained by Sanjaya here. So Prabhupada mentions that Sanjaya could see the form of the Lord, this universal form of the Lord, only by the grace of Vyasadeva. Just like how Krishna had shown universal form to Arjuna, at that time, even other many demigods also, it's not that, only Arjuna could see the universal form of the Lord, but many others who have been given divine chakshu. Krishna gives divine chakshu. He says also to Arjuna that, not everyone can see this form. I'll give you the benediction to see this form. So to whomever he has bestowed that benediction, everyone could see the form of the Lord. And in that, in them, even Vyasadeva is one among them, and because of the mercy of Vyasadeva, even Sanjaya could see it. And that he is repeatedly recalling, and he is feeling wonderstruck. And with that wonderstruck, he is rejoicing again and again, that form of the Lord. Okay, so we will move on to the last shloka of this session. Very famous shloka. Yes, Swati Mataji, you can. Yes, Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhuti, Dhruvani Tirmatir Mama.
Yes, Pramila, 1 minute, Mataji. Let all of them repeat, because many have raised their hands, and then you can again read translation of it. Yes, Pramila Mataji, you can read.
Mataji, I'll read the shloka, Mataji, or the translation?
Shlika. Only shloka.
Only shloka. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruvani Tirmatir Mama. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Who else? Subbarao Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can I read the purport and translation?
No. Only shloka.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhuti, Dhruvani Tirmatir Mama.
Yes, Medhavani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti, Dhruvani Tirmatir Mama. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mansa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Nitirmatir Mama. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Kavita Mataji.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhuvani Tirmatir Mama.
Namita Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Can I recite, Mataji? Am I audible?
You already read, Mataji. We heard it. Yeah, Namita
Krishna.
Mataji. Yes.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhute, Dhruva Nitirmatir Mama. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Who else? Swati Mataji. Then now you can read translation and purport.
Yes, Mataji. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and mortality. That is my opinion.
Morality. Mataji, purport is too big. Let's stick to translation.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay,
Hare
thank you. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So now in this shloka, Sanjaya is speaking about amazing combination of Krishna and Arjuna. So he said, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno. He's saying wherever there is Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha. Wherever there is greater bowman, Arjuna, Tata Shri Vijayo Bhutir. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir. Tatra means there shall be. Shri means prosperity, Vijaya, victory, Bhutir, power. Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Dhruva Nitir means morality, and Matir Mama, it is my conviction. So Sanjay is saying that it is conviction, it is his conviction that wherever Krishna and Arjuna are there, 4 things will be there. Prosperity, victory, power, and morality. These 4 things are there. So this is a very long purport. I'll tell the essence of it. So here Krishna's Prabhupada speaks about Krishna's accepting the position of a charioteer for Arjuna. He says that is also one of the exhibition of Krishna's opulence, right? Krishna is full of all opulences. So accepting the position of charioteer means what? Though he is full of opulences, he is also a great renouncer also. Renunciation is also one of the opulence of Krishna. So he is not attached to the position. He is ready to take the position of a charioteer. So he says, Prabhupada says, Krishna is also the master of renunciation. Then Krishna speaks about the supreme instruction of morality. So where it is spoken, Prabhupada says that in the 9th chapter, in the 34th verse, which is Manmana Bhagavad Bhakta, where Krishna says one must become a devotee of Krishna, and one has to, and another verse is Sarva Dharman Paridyaja. Another verse is to surrender unto Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada here, he is appreciating Krishna for exhibiting the opulence of renunciation by accepting the role of a chariot driver, and we can exhibit his instruction, Krishna's instruction, by following the 9th chapter shlokas, these 2 shlokas, Manmana Bhagavad Makto and Sarvadharman Paridyaja. So this is the happy ending of Bhagavad Gita. So what is the real victory that Arjuna has attained? It is not the victory over Duryodhana or not the victory over Dushashana. His victory is to finally agree to follow the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, to agree to follow the teachings of Krishna. Karishye Vachanam Tava is the real victory. So the real victory is to execute Krishna's instructions. So in the beginning of the Gita, Arjuna sought Krishna in helplessness. But at the end of Gita, Arjuna expressed his surrender to Krishna by showing his readiness to execute Krishna's will. This is the happy ending of Bhagavad Gita, which is loving surrender of a devotee and loving protection offered by God, which it's a combination of loving surrender of a devotee and also loving protection offered by the Krishna. So earlier we discussed, like in the beginning of the shlokas. So in this class we discussed that Krishna expressed his love towards Arjuna and towards all of us by teaching the instructions of Gita. In reciprocation to that expression of love by Krishna, what a devotee should do, a devotee should agree to execute the will of Krishna. That reciprocal relationship where when the will of a devotee becomes one with the will of the God or will of Krishna, that amazing combination causes all prosperity and victory. So we are seeing here, like Sanjay is saying, wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Arjuna, there is prosperity and victory. From where, how it is happening? Because Arjuna is willing to follow the will of the Lord. And Krishna is also ready to reciprocate with Arjuna. So because of that, there is all prosperity and there is all victory. So we don't need to, Prabhupada also mentions that we don't need to suppress our desires, but just align with Krishna's desire. Harmonizing the human will with the divine will bring all success automatically. So what is ultimate victory? Ultimate victory is that self-centered success is not sustainable, neither it is satisfying, but success attained by selfless surrender to the Lord is very much sustaining and satisfying. So devotional service is very powerful. Prabhupada mentions that when a devotee achieves what he wants to accomplish, it is not by his own mystic power, but by the grace of the master of the mystic power, who is Lord Krishna. So by his grace, a devotee can accomplish wonderful things which are unimaginable even to the most powerful scientist. We know, as the saying goes, like with Krishna we are heroes, without Krishna we are zeros, right? So in one of the classes of on the verse, Srimad Bhagavatam verse, Prabhupada gives a very nice example of, although we are very minute, still by grace of Krishna we can become useful instrument in his service and make our life perfect. So Prabhupada says there that, if a car is running at 70 miles speed, a cyclist catches the car, right? A cyclist is there, he also can catch the car. He also, when he catches the car, what does it mean? He is also running at the speed of 70 miles, right? Although the cycle has not got so much speed, but he can do it. Similarly, although we are a minute particle of the God, but if we dovetail ourselves with the consciousness of God or with the will of the Lord in Krishna consciousness, then we become equally spirit. So this is the technique. So Srila Prabhupada also says, if you read Bhagavad Gita carefully, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, you will find yourself at the lotus feet of Krishna. We say that, oh Krishna, you are the greatest of the greatest. We got that understanding, right? Like Sanjay also got the same understanding. Oh Krishna, you are the greatest of the greatest, that nobody is greater than you, nobody equal to you, and I am simply your servant. With this, we'll complete Bhagavad Gita here. And I really want to congratulate all of you for attending these Bhagavad Gita sessions. All the chapters, 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. It's not actually ordinary thing to come for these sessions. Actually, listening to Bhagavad Gita requires Shraddha, faith. It also requires interest. It requires enthusiasm. It requires consistency, steadiness, all of these. And all of these you people have, and you are all fortunate souls. I really congratulate all of you for this, and thank you very much.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. Mataji, are we finishing the BG today, or is it?
Yeah, we completed Bhagavad Gita.
Mataji, one small doubt,
Yes.
Mataji.
Tomorrow class.
Yes.
Mataji, also the way all
Mataji, concluding two sentences you said, Mataji, sorry to disturb you. A loving surrender of a devotee, and then the second sentence was about Krishna. What did you say? The last two concluding sentences of the Bhagavad Gita, you said loving surrender of a devotee and, remember?
Loving surrender of the devotee only. Happy ending, she told Mataji.
Yeah. I mean,
Something
see,
about-
one with aligning with the will of the Lord. That's what I said.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Mataji, one small doubt, Mataji.
Yeah. We'll take the doubt. We'll take the questions first, and then we will discuss other things. Yes,
like
Mataji, go ahead.
75 verse, they are giving Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga are explained. So is it related to like Paramatma realization, Brahman, Bhagavan, or is it different, Mataji? Like Karma Yoga means it's only fruitive thing with benefit, and Jnana Yoga is the empirical, like by knowledge, that is one, and Bhakti Yoga is only that like directly relationship with Lord, right?
Yeah, but why is that related here? Prabhupada only mentions that Krishna speaks all these things in Bhagavad Gita. So all these yoga systems are taught by Krishna here in Bhagavad Gita. Here in the translation, if you see, Here,
Okay.
Sanjaya says he is the master of all mysticism, right? Yoga Ishwarat. Yogeshwarat Krishnat, Yogam Yogeshwarat Krishna. So, how he is a master of all mysticism, that is what Krishna, that is what Prabhupada is explaining here. Because he has explained all these yoga systems, right?
Okay,
The
okay.
person who has this, he can only explain all this like that. Understood, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Sure, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so what else? Somebody was saying some comment. Are we ending the session, Bhagavad Gita's
I said,
classes?
Mataji, it's
Yes,
all
yes,
because
ma'am.
of your all you Shiksha Gurus that the way all have been explaining so sweetly, so nicely, that we have got this proper understanding, Mataji. So big thank you to all of you all. Hare
We should
Krishna.
say thanks to our master, who is Ashish Ashish
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Mataji.
He is there.
ultimately, Ashish Prabhu Mataji.
Yeah.
He is there.
Yes, Mataji.
Even
Thanks
Ashish
to all
Prabhu
the
also.
great
But all of
Mataji.
We are
all the
only his
all the
servants. We are only his humble servants. He's here. I mean, you can all speak to him.
Okay, Hari Bol. So it's a nice feeling. I'm getting a nice feeling that Bhagavad Gita getting over. I never joined your classes, but then really is giving a nice feeling that all these teachers, dedicated teachers, all these teachers, they made you complete Bhagavad Gita in a very relishing way. Is it not? Bhagavad Gita
Yes.
would not have sounded Bhagavad Gita or a philosophical book because they are taking the classes. I used to peep in and I used to come out without getting noticed from others. But then I used to see there was so much of reciprocation was going on in every class. So, the speaker becomes a speaker because there is an audience. So all the glories to the audience, all the glories to the speakers. You made us complete one more batch of Bhagavad Gita. And we hope that you like the sessions. And if there are some feedbacks, positive, negative, please convey to us. We are very grateful to all 20 of you. Those 20, I mean, including me, 20, so it is like 18. So thank you so much for being a part of this project. And anything you want to say, please convey your thanks to the speakers. And where you'll find them, you can find them in Zoom classes itself. You can name them and you can congratulate them, you can wish them. And that's all.
Yes, Prabhu. And big thank you to you also. Big thank you to
Prabhuji, what
you
will
also,
happen?
Prabhu, for all
Yes,
the
Prabhuji, what
Prabhu,
will
big
happen
thank
next?
you to all
to
the
you
speakers.
also.
Hare Krishna,
Sorry?
Ashish Prabhuji, what will happen next?
So, Prabhuji, we are going for Brahma Samhita now. Okay, so it will be starting probably from next week. All the arrangements have been done. So, are you okay with Brahma Samhita? It's quite technical.
Yes,
We
Prabhu. But
wanted
same
to
timing, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Huh?
Prabhu.
Timing, Prabhuji.
Same time,
Prabhuji,
same
that
time.
11:30, that batch, that one, Prabhuji.
Yeah, same. 11:30,
Oh,
11:31.
okay.
Same.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So for you, nothing has changed. Only the book has changed.
From tomorrow also, Prabhuji, from
We
tomorrow
are
it will
very
be there.
fortunate.
No. Give us some time. From Monday, hopefully we'll start. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
sure.
Prabhuji.
And whenever some course gets over, we ask for the fees because I have to give the fees to the speakers, to the these dedicated teachers. And our fees and their fees is the same. I mean, you start reading Bhagavad Gita, that is our fees. You make it a point that every day you are reading some verses. And additionally, the bonus part for us from your side is to bring more and more people. Like Brahma Samhita is the next project and is quite technical. So even when the speaker is speaking about Brahma Samhita, they would not just come and give the lectures. Okay, so they have to prepare a lot. They would be preparing a lot. And then only they can present themselves over here in front of you. So 4 or 5 days are there. Please try to involve more and more people so that the whole program gets benefited by everyone. Okay, so yes, please be ready for next one, Brahma
Pranam,
Samhita.
Ashish Prabhuji, for your great endeavors. We are able to expose
Yes,
ourselves.
Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Quite
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna,
Thank you, Hare
Dandavat
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
So much.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji. Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very much for
Prabhuji.
sharing.
Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Dandavat
Pranam.
Pranam.
Dandavat pranam, dandavat pranam.